Hello, I'm your host, Tamara Caulder Richardson, and welcome to Seeking Heaven, the Near-Death Experience and Other Phenomena. And today, we have some other phenomena. We're going to be talking about a lot of fun stuff. But before I begin, please subscribe and like and check the little bell off so you'll get alerts for when new shows come up. And thank you so much for being a part of this channel. We've already reached 10,000 subscribers, and wow, who knew? So thank you. So today's guest, I'm going to go ahead and bring them on. They're wonderful. We're having too much fun, so we figured we better start. And that's Candice Sanderson. Thank you for being here.
Oh, Tamara, it's great to be here. I mean, we've had so much fun already before you started recording.
I know. I'm like, I think people might want to know what we're talking about. We need to go ahead and start. So Candice is an author of 2 books, and I love the name. It makes me giggle. And The Reluctant Messenger and The Reluctant Messenger Returns. So I know that she was also a professional clinical psychologist, as well as working with schools, being a psychologist. I guess with all these school shootings and so forth, that must have been, that's coming up these days. That was important. But she's going to talk about her life in the past and how she evolved and what's going on. But right now, you're in Florida, right?
Yes, I'm in Southwest Florida, Naples.
Wow. I am so jealous. I bet it's beautiful because you used to be in Kentucky. So you were what, Midland? You were Midland, like me in
Yes.
Charlotte. I'm in the, I'm not, 3.5 hours, 3 from the, 2.5 from the mountains, 3.5 to the beach. So, but probably similar in Kentucky. How does it feel to actually be on the ocean there?
Oh, it just feels great. I remember the first time I visited Naples, I just fell in love with it.
Wow.
And I remember saying to someone, if there's a such thing as reincarnation, which I believe there is now, but back then it's like, no, I don't think so. I just,
Yeah.
but I thought, how we grow. But I thought, if there's a such thing as reincarnation, I've just come home because being so close to the water, I just felt like my soul was there, and I still do, which is great.
Well, it's funny because I'm being told, I get things, I totally get you. You don't need to explain. I get it. That's my world. But I can imagine what a shock it would be to get messages like you have I'm sure we all get, before we're kind of woken up to the fact, get messages, but don't really know it. But your life before versus now. But I was told, I was always kind of, this way. I think it's because my near-death experiences really set it off, open it up, but it just allowed me to have a filter. But they're telling me Florida. I keep being told Florida, and it doesn't make sense to me yet. But I keep getting that, and I'll argue with them. I'll go, well, what about South Carolina? My sister's moving to Hilton Head. Yeah, argue. I said, she's in Hilton Head, and they're like, no, it's Florida. No, it's like, well, it's in Florida, and they go, you wait, and they kind of giggle. So.
Yeah, you'll find out. And that's the beauty of spirit and guidance. They'll tell you something and you're kicking and screaming and saying, no, not me, or I don't want to do that. But we don't always have that larger perspective. And I've learned to trust that they do. And so it will unfold. We do find out why it was a good decision.
Oh, I'm with you. Guys, I'm going to tell you what, Candice, we're going to find a little bit about pre the way she was before, and a little bit of her life and where she is now. But we're going to have so much fun because there are so many little nuggets we want to tell you, to bring to you. And also the fact is, you can have an awakening at any point in life. And I think a lot of it's intention, like, is there more than this? And then I'm like, be careful what you ask for, right? Because you will definitely find it. So tell us a little bit about, before you, as we know Candice right now, what happened? What happened?
What happened? What happened? Yeah.
No, I mean, like, tell us your old life, and you're very educated and very acknowledged for your work and what you did as a psychologist, as well as a mother, and you might want to talk about that, those early days and taking care of that, and then how this started opening up, and then we'll just have a chat. I just want people to get a feel of you were kind of a normal person at one point.
At one point. I mean, if you're if people can see the screen behind me.
Okay, let me pull it back so they can see it, because it's really very nice, very nice, beautiful. And I love the God mandala, the blue. Actually, my little icons for members only are in a mandala. I have a mandala little buttons. I love that.
Perfect. But this says it all. The reluctant messenger,
Yes.
tales from beyond belief, because these seem like tales, and they were certainly beyond my belief system. And Tamara, I was the one having the experiences. But this other part is key. This small subtitle says, an ordinary person's extraordinary journey into the unknown. Now, I have seen so many people that are psychic and they were born that way. Maybe their parents were that way and they've always been special or different. But Candice, no, there was nothing special about me. I mean, I was just ordinary. There was nothing in my background that would hint at, oh, she's got this other side to her. I was trained as a psychologist. You know, I was a clinical psychologist. I went back to school and became a school psychologist. So my whole life, it's like, I like working with people. I like children. I like helping people. But make no mistake about it, my religion was science. Now, I grew up in Western Kentucky, and I grew up as a Southern Baptist. So, the Judeo-Christian heritage, was very important to me. But my life
it's a way of life in the South.
Yes, it is. It is.
Right.
But, growing up in the Bible Belt, we know that. But once I had my training as a psychologist, that became my religion. I still, embraced religion, but I did not believe anything unless I could see it. If I couldn't measure it, if I couldn't measure something with my physical senses in my world, it didn't exist. It didn't exist.
By the way, real quick, when you were saying that you were normal, I actually got a comment on that. So hold on. They said, no, she was always special. And then they told me why you were special. They said it's because you have a great love for helping people. And that's why we chose you. Because think about it. Have you ever seen people with abilities and they get messages and so forth, but they may be arrogant? Spirit loves to pick people that are humble and loving, and they love other people, and they want to help other people and be of service. So I thought it was so sweet. They're going, no, she's always very special.
Oh,
they're back there going, no, she's always very special to us. All right. So I just had to tell you again, a little love there from your heaven buddies.
Oh, thank you. But that was my life as Candice 1.0. Now, one morning, Tamara, that all changed. And I stepped into Candice 2.0. It didn't start at birth. It didn't start, in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s. I was in my 60s.
So there's still hope for people. Hang in there.
Yes. And I am driving to work one morning. It was August 28th, 2013. And as usual, well, I'm a workaholic, so I have to get to work at least an hour early or I feel like I'm late. But it's before sunrise. I'm on the road. There's no traffic. I have like a 10, 12-minute drive. And I'm there just sitting behind my car driving, not really paying attention to my driving, because in my mind, I'm going through this schedule. Like, oh my gosh, I have all these back-to-back meetings. I'm not going to have time for lunch. But little did I know, my life was about to change. Something happened that changed me forever into that Candice 2.0.
Okay, so this will be a good time. I'm going through, doing you have the books are available on Amazon, but you can get the Audible or you can get the, if you want a Kindle or hard copy, you can have all of those. But I'm going through the first book. And then I've also got the second one to go through and also read as well. But I'm seeing your journey through that and about how you got messages. But what I wanted to know is that, okay, so you're going through life, you're going to work, it's another day. How did this all happen? How did you open up, do you think? I mean, the spirit, because you had, I think it sounds like you had a shift, okay? So you had some a shift. You had some kind of spiritual awakening. So was it I guess it was a process, but aren't we all works in progress
Yes.
or process? So maybe tell us how that first started happening, and
Okay.
just give an example of like this yarn ball unraveling. Like what happened?
Well, it's, you're absolutely right. Shift happens, and that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm
Good.
driving to work, and all of a sudden this message just drops into my awareness. Now, I'm busy thinking about today's schedule. And when it came to me, Tamara, I knew it's like, this isn't from me. It wasn't my wording. It wasn't the phraseology I use, but I knew it was a message for me. But it was a message about a flower. And they said, when you look at a flower, it's like at its peak when it's open.
Yeah.
And that a flower is a flower. So taking that word flower and hyphenating it, it's a flower of energy. And the message said, a plant draws energy from deep within Mother Earth, and then it ascends toward Father Sky. And when it's in this perfect alignment with Source, it produces this flower. And that humans too, that when we allow our energy to flow, we open up to this beautiful potential. And it said, let us all be flowers of energy. And I'm thinking,
beautiful.
But it's like, I don't know what this is. I didn't use words like that back then, Candice 1.0, like Source, Father Sky, Mother Earth. I am so grounded at this point in my life, at that point in my life as a psychologist. And all of my training as a psychologist taught me to look at, okay, what's wrong? So that was my first thought. It's like, what's wrong with me? Have I become psychotic?
Yeah, I remember that part. You're going down the line. Do I have dementia? Is it this? Yeah. And yeah, because I understand, because I channel too, and you understand when your thoughts, and you're like, oh yeah, I need to, do this or go by the store, or I need to, they're your thoughts. But when you have another set of thoughts come into your head and another way of speaking, which is not how you speak,
right.
And this is good for people to know. It was gentle and loving, so that's good. It's positive. But when it comes into your, I guess it's telepathy. We're going to say mind-to-mind communication, and when it comes through, and then it's not you, because usually when I get channel stuff, is much prettier than the way I would put it.
Yes.
What do you think?
Exactly. A lot of my messages, or the earlier messages, came from a group who identified themselves as the muses within. And then I could identify them through the years when they would come in, because they were so poetic. What they said was just like this beautiful prose.
Right.
And in fact, when I got this message, the first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, that is so pretty. I wish I thought of it. It's like, I knew it wasn't me. It was great.
Right. But it's funny when you mentioned the flower, I was like, I knew, because I'm a trained evidential psychic medium. I was born this way, but I'm a channeler, and I know when people, because I can kind of link into Source and go, oh yeah, are they connected? And when I heard the message, that I was like, man, she's connected. This is like the stuff I get, and other people that know that channel is really pretty too. It's maybe different, but it's a certain tone to it, and I think it's because it's coming from a higher source.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. And what I love about the messages I get is I don't have to do anything but just step out of the way.
Oh, isn't it great?
And they just drop it into my awareness. And we talked about this before you started recording. It's like dictation. They tell you what to say,
everything,
how to end, each sentence,
right?
When to start a new paragraph.
Oh yeah.
If I make a mistake, they say strike that, and then they give me the correct wording. They'll even tell me or let me hear how to pronounce a word that I'm not familiar with and how to spell it. And it's like,
they've done that to me too. Like, oh, that's a cool word. What is that word? and then they'll tell me how to spell it right now. I'll look it up and go, oh, wow. So I feel like that it increases it improves my vocabulary working with spirit. But yeah, they do that with me too. And sometimes I'll be like, especially Jesus, I saw him on the other side. But again, it's part of that whole team over there. And you're right, they do work in unison. There are always many, but as we like to have a name behind it or to identify, but it's usually many that are on your team.
Right.
But they'll go, like, I'm not done yet. I'm like, okay, you're not done with this paragraph. And I'm like, okay. And yet it really makes it easier to me.
It does.
When you channel, that's what it is, channeling. Whether you write it or you hear it and speak it or whatever it is, it's easier than really doing a psychic reading. You're perceiving somebody or whatever.
Right.
Or a person. But when you get a download, you just have to listen good. You just have to be a good listener.
Right. You don't have to do anything other than just receive it. They do all the work for you. You don't have to work for it. You just have to allow it. And I think that's what makes, or at least for me, makes all the difference.
Well, I think that when you're going to work, think about it. You probably have a beautiful drive. You're going to work, not many people on the road. So your mind was probably at that point, you weren't in the thick of your work. At that point, your mind was more open and expansive. And this is their time to talk to you. It was funny. Spirit always talks to me in the bathroom. Did they do that to you too? In the shower? Always in the shower.
Yes.
Do they do it to you?
Well, once I started channeling, I realized that drive to work was perfect. So I would get my iPhone out, put my seatbelt on, start the car, hit record, and they would just talk,
That was your time.
I would record it every day, every night when I would come home. I would, type it up in my Word document. But sometimes you're right. They would come early. They'd be in the shower and I guess we all were, but I would be in the shower and I would say, whoa, hold off. Wait a minute, please. It's like they didn't really understand personal space, but they were good. They would wait,
Isn't that funny? It's true though. I've even had readings and I'm getting ready before, let's say, my reading. And I'm in the shower and I'll have relatives, they'll start showing up and go, hey, she's really cute. I love when she does this and that. I'm like, okay, I'm real excited you're here, but you need to wait a little longer. I need some time to myself. Thank you.
And they do, don't they?
Mm-hmm. They get excited. And there was one lady I said, who was also another medium, Priscilla Grendon, that's going to be on here as well. She has a wellness conference. It's really cool. But anyhow, I said, there was a lady that was smoking a pipe and said, I shouldn't be doing this. And she had short hair and she was bragging about all the things that you do because she's this global wellness conference. And she's like, that's my mom. She would sneak my dad's pipe because she wasn't supposed to smoke, so she would sneak his. And I'm like, okay, well, she was real excited. She's bragging about you. So they love to come through and brag, and especially in the shower. But I think it's our quiet time, like you on the road. And then you were like, hey, this is our time. Let me record this. I mean, I think it was also, to mention, very brave of you, because it could have been frightening because you knew your life at this point, right? I mean, you had it down.
Yeah, I mean, I knew my life so well. So what happened is when I heard this message, I reverted back to my training as a psychologist. And so I started going through the DSM-5, which is the diagnostic manual, that we use to diagnose people, and thinking, checking off these boxes. It's like, oh, come on, Candice, you're not psychotic. You're oriented to time, place, and person. But I couldn't explain what it was. So I did what a lot of us do when we have a novel situation. We're like operating in the dark. We don't have any data files in our brain that say, oh, do this, oh, do that.
Right.
So I just brought in denial. I just dismissed it. It's like, forget this. I don't know what this nonsense is, but I've got to get to work an hour early. I've just got to get to work.
Well, when you don't, and I think this with any topic, I mean, if I saw an alien spaceship land in my backyard, I haven't had experience with that. I probably would not know how to process it. And I would, at first I'm like, did I really see that?
It's my imagination.
My imagination is that no, well, they actually got out and picked a flower, went back in, and I'm like, okay, so, so a lot of times when people don't know what to do with it, they put it on the shelf till they can find if they have more experiences, or B, they find some kind of knowledge out about that. But you kept having these.
Right. Well, what happened is, denial comes in and it's like, oh, forget this. I've got to get to work. So I put it out of my mind. I show up at work a few minutes later, there's parking lots empty. I gather all my stuff and I'm going in the door. And all of a sudden, Tamara, I stopped dead in my tracks. And there's something that was like calling me. And I looked to the right. And it's like, there it was. I was face to face with a tree, a royal poinciana tree. Now, I've been past this tree 100 times. I walk in, unlock the door, go in, come back. But this time it was different. And this tree actually called me to it. And I am staring at it. The sun is just coming in. I mean, the sun is starting to come up and light is just filtering through this beautiful tree. Now, for those who aren't familiar with the royal poinciana, it's a subtropical tree. It has these huge, gnarly branches and this beautiful canopy. It has flowers that look like orchids. And as the light came in, it's like there's these beautiful patterns of shadow and light on the ground. And I'm just standing there with my mouth open. And I realized something. I realized that this tree was as much alive as I was. It was my first true mystical experience. And so while I'm there looking at it in this other dimensional space where time didn't exist, all of a sudden, it's like someone took my head and turned it. I looked toward this one bud, this bud that had not flowered yet. And then that message came back to me about us all being flowers of energy. And I realized that bud represented me, untapped potential. It represented all of us. And I don't know how long I stood there. But when I walked in the building, I realized, well, actually, I didn't realize it at the time, but what had happened was I had just taken my first steps into the world of spirit. And that's when Candice 1.0 became Candice 2.0. My life changed completely.
To me, you think about it, you could have walked past the tree. It's funny. I think that there's something so profound in that, because really all things that are the grass, the trees, the beautiful birds, they're all divinely created. I mean, it keeps going. We're divinely, we have breath in us. We're divinely created. And to have that connection, it's funny. I have a tree that I'm obsessed with in my backyard, and the roots is so old, and the roots are so deep and so thick that they now have come up through the ground. Mm-hmm. And I love in the summer walking on the roots and like just touching the tree, because it's just so wise. It's been around for so long, but I feel like it's my protector, because it's right in the back of the house. So I have a shaman friend. She moved to Hawaii, Kelly Smallberger. But anyway, she came over and we did this little blessing of the grounds, and we put these beautiful crystals in the center of the tree, because you can
beautiful.
We just popped it up there. And it's just, to me, it just has, even my husband said, your favorite tree. I'm like, I like touching it. I like looking at it. I feel like it's an old friend. So
it's like just our connection to nature. I mean, I feel this way too when I go out and walk on the beach, or I go on a nature walk. I just feel so connected to everything. And that's when a lot of messages come into me now. I mean, I've retired now, so I no longer have that morning commute, but I'll go out in nature, and all of a sudden there are times that I will step into another dimensional space, and I can actually feel it. I can feel as I pierce that veil, and then you look around and everything is different. Everything is so alive. You know, the experience with the poinciana tree, I know now what happened. My guides and angels were saying, you know, hey, she didn't quite get that message about the flower. Let's bring in the royal poinciana tree.
Wow, beautiful.
And it happened, but that transformed me. It really did.
No, I mean, and that's just saying it, that we have so much life around us to really connect. For me, it's really nature, and it's, you know, it's not, I was never really necessarily an outdoorsy person, but it's not where, you know, like where I would just go hiking or what have you. But to me, it's more of experiencing in the presence and slowing down things to look at the life that's around. It's, for me, it is. And then when I do that, I start feeling grateful and then humble. And then that's when I feel like there's a shift that's created in me to receive. But, you know, this world, we have a lot going on, so we have to have these moments. Do you have a time set aside now that you receive your messages?
You know, I can actually drop into that space at almost any point in time.
Right.
Now, after I retired, you know, I no longer had that morning commute, and I started going just to meditations a few times a week, because I knew when I'd go to a meditation, before it would even start, my world would just open and these messages would come. But since COVID came, I've now been sitting at the computer and just waiting, and they open up and I just start typing. And I always knew I could do that, but it almost felt, I don't know, more authentic and more genuine if they chose the topic, and if they just told me things that would happen. But, you know, what I do know is when from experience, is when we can get into that other dimensional space, and we can do it by raising our vibrations. I even start this book out with a quote from Tesla. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So I now see the world through the lens of energy. And I know that I can raise my energy vibrations by bringing in higher vibratory frequencies of love, of humor, of gratitude. And as I do that, you can just feel your energy getting
absolutely
higher and more expansive. And when we're in that expansive state, we no longer are operating from our physical body. So those five senses that we think work so well, but they really kind of limit us, they are expanded. And that's when we can tap into those often really subtle messages from the other side, from our angels, from our guides. But especially getting out in nature brings that back to me. I love
agree.
it.
And I love what you're saying here about raising our vibration. Another thing is that because we're spiritual beings, we're eternal spiritual beings, we just happen to have these models, these bodies right now.
Right.
We've had other models, but we are automatically connected because we are from the other side. So we're automatically portals. And I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Right.
We just always say, I always make sure that my portal connected is to 111, you know, not like 666, you know, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? I try to.
No, but that's so true, because we are always connected to a field of energy, but how we manage our energy frequencies is what will define us. You know, it's like looking at that glass of water. I want to see it half full, because as I see it half full, I'm going to bring in other half fullers to me. You know, you know, sometimes you get out of bed on the wrong, get up on the wrong side of the bed, or you trip, or you do this, and like the rest of the day is just the pits. It's like, no. Choose to step into a better frequency, a higher frequency, and then your life is so much better. It just, you know, it brings more of the same to you. So yeah, let's choose that 111, not the multiple sixes.
I'll make a joke of that, but I think that it's not only with the people that surround us, Right. I mean, there's certain people, like if you work with someone, they may be a little negative. You kind of have to deal with that the best you
Right,
can.
right.
I put my little God bubble around me, my little light God bubble.
Yes, good.
But most of the things that you can pick, and I think this is good information for people watching, you can pick, and also your space. I think that certain,
Yes.
it's not that, like, I keep trying to tell my husband, I'm like, it's not
Good
that
luck.
this is, I know, did you see me laugh nervously? It's not that where we are is a bad thing. It's not that. It's just that there are higher vibrational areas. The areas that
Right.
actual physical locations, like certain places in Arizona, have actually positive portals. So they're actually higher vibrational places. And I feel like I've outgrown certain aspects of self that now even my spaces around me, I won't taller ceilings. I want, you change, and what I want to look at and experience, I want to change and evolve. And I want to talk about you changing and evolving. And we talked about this pre-show, and I was like, wow, people might want to hear this that about you evolving, and about how, I mean, we talk about this is a great, to me, example, your story of being, I mean, you had, in my opinion, and you tell me what you think, a spiritually transformative experiences. This is the STE, and there's more. I love the one where you needed help when you were driving, if you could tell that one, because to me, I was like, angel, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, and what love from heaven. I always say we have a fan club in heaven, but this is an example of literally heaven coming to your car door and helping you.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say something about STE, spiritually transformative experiences. Tamara, I didn't even know what I was having. I knew I was having experiences, and they were very mystical. They were very profound. But as a psychologist, I wanted this neat, organized category to put them in. And I didn't have that category till last summer in 2020. That's when I read Dr. Yvonne Kaysen's book, Touched by the Light.
It's an incredible book.
She's the one who coined that term. And it's like, oh my gosh, as a psychologist.
I'm so glad you said that. Yes, she did. She's been on the show several times. She's an amazing woman. And wow. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this worked for me. As a psychologist, I love the labels, and it helped me identify and put a box around what was happening to me. Even when I read my book, she said something about, like, there's, I don't know, 7 or 8 types of
awakenings,
experiences that might be mystical. And it's like, oh, check. I had one of them.
If you go to their site, for people listening here, I don't know if you've been there, but people listening, Spiritual Awakenings International.org, which actually the Seeking Heaven channel is one of the affiliate members of SAI. It's what's, Spiritual Awakenings International. But there's a list of all of them. If you break it down, there's a list of all of them. Like, there's one for near-death experiencers. I'm like, I checked all of them. Spiritual, I'm like, checked. There's some I checked I didn't even know. I was like, I didn't know that was something. Okay, check that. But that gave me relief when I read the book, Touched by the Light with Dr. Yvonne Kaysen, because there were some I didn't have a word for it.
Right.
There was no word. And she does go into this kind and this way and that. And one of the things she talks about is like Kundalini awakenings, where the spine, where the energy, is activated through the spine. But it doesn't have to be that way. So people are expected to have an experience. And that's why I love yours, is that yours was much more gentle, and it was kind of, I mean, seems really loving and intimate. Like they came so intimate and loving. It's like that flower. You're that flower. Right. You're that little flower. It was so beautiful.
Oh, and I mean, and it was beautiful, but it was nice to be able to put a term to that. Okay, that's an STE, because it was spiritually transformative. It changed my life.
Yeah, 2.0.
Right. And I don't want to get away from your question. There was this dream that I had. It was actually a precognitive dream. Mm-hmm. And in this dream, which is interesting because the messengers used to come to me in dreams, but I didn't know it. I didn't realize it because I wasn't.
Now.
Right. I have a dream journal. It is so long. It is over 250,000 words long. So the messengers will sometimes say, oh, go review the dream on blah, blah, blah. And all I have to do is, put it in the search and I can pull up all these dreams. But
right.
In this dream, there was a lady who was, got a call in the middle of the night and an emergency. She had to go somewhere. So she gets on the road. She has to get off the interstate to get gas or something. And she can't find her way back. She had her GPS and her GPS kept rerouting her to this, on-ramp that was blocked due to construction. And she just couldn't find her way. And so she's in this area and there's no help around. It's in the middle of the night. And it's like, okay, I can't do anything. I'm just going to cry. And all of a sudden there's this little tapping on the window. And there's a lady, her same age, that says, are you lost? You need help. She's dressed in medical scrubs. And she told her how to get back on the on-ramp or, how to get back on the interstate. And the lady wrote it all down. And so this is me actually in the dream. Right. And I look up to thank her and she's gone. And I thought, did I make this up? Is this all my imagination? But it's like I still have that piece of paper in my hand with all the directions. And this was such a wonderful exercise, if you will, in a dream from me, because it was summarizing my life. I'm on this road. I take an off ramp. Right. It takes me to a place I don't know where I'm going.
How cute! That is adorable.
But then I learned to trust.
Oh my God!
And that's what it's all about. And then later, when I needed some help, the doors opened and angels came in. I mean, I've had so many messengers. I've had star beings. I've had religious icons. I've had angels, archangels. I've had messages about time. How does time work? How does the brain work? I get so many of them.
Right.
But when the love came in from the angelic realm, oh my goodness, it's like they've come to my rescue and they'll do anything for me, which means they'll do anything for you as well too. You just need to ask for help. Yeah. And they're there.
I agree. And I love the fact this came to you the way you could handle it and open up where where other people, who knows their personalities, they have to have a V8 and the whole, it can, opening a spiritual awakening and opening, it can happen different ways. Right. And it can be that people were awake when they were children. I think most children are, but then we do this thing called life and then we block this out. Right. And then the more we become childlike, what Jesus talks about that. But I think it's because we're lighter in heart. Lighter in heart.
And it is all about the heart. I have learned to live through my heart space. And the messengers have told me, and you got to realize all this stuff is new for me. But the messengers have told me that your heart is a portal, and that is what connects us to these higher vibrational frequencies. And that's what allows us to move our energy out of our body and become this field, and where we can attract these beautiful messages from angels and guides. And it's a matter of just allowing it. You don't really have to study to learn how to do this. It's there. Learn to accept it. That's what I agree.
And I think what's interesting with you too is that here you were raised Southern Baptist. Now, when I grew up, my grandmother talked about Jesus, but my stepdad was an atheist. My mom, we didn't talk about it. We didn't really go to church, so it wasn't really around that. It's funny, only till now doing this show that I've met people that have been damaged by certain religions that I'm like, because I didn't really have that, and I'm like, but I can see that. And I think that we have to, all of us, no matter what we came from, if we want to grow, it doesn't matter what religion. I think we need to not dismiss our upbringing, but maybe just put it to the side there for a little bit and say, okay, let me just
widen your view.
Widen the view and not have fear. Actually, you know what Jesus told me?
What's that?
I didn't know it's from me. I'm so hard-headed. I didn't know. He said when he told me, like you're told we're going to send people to your YouTube, but to do YouTube too. And I'm like, something else. He goes, no. He said YouTube. And I'm like, he said that exact, I was like, I not TikTok, not Rumble. And those people, you should do that. I'm like, no, he said YouTube. So, but he said, there is a lot of people out there that are trying to raise the vibration and just have this conversation like we're having now. Just by having this conversation is allowing so many people. Just like, it's okay. Don't have fear. Just know that, your angels, your guides, your team God squad, they're all right there for you. But he said they're trying to do the same thing as you. And he said, but they do it in a different way. And I said, so what are you saying? He's saying, you need to shift your viewpoint and how you look at people, because you're seeing it this way when in reality, they're trying to connect with this group of people and try to advance them to be more aware of divinity, I guess, the one, whatever. And I said, oh, okay. And so it's funny, since I allowed that to happen just with myself, it's kind of, instead of just looking at it like, oh, that seems whatever. Now the people are telling me, well, I do this because I'm connected to the people that are blah, blah, blah. And they'll just tell me, I was like, that's brilliant. Now that I'm seeing that, I'm thinking, why do you want to connect with, say, for example, the drug addicts, like, why?
Right.
I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And you go, oh, because so-and-so and blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, this is brilliant. So I'm seeing that we all have to, I guess, whether we had a religious or a no religious or whatever it is, we still go through life with opinions. And it's really freeing when you can tell yourself, I don't have to have that opinion anymore. I think I'm just going to walk in love, and I'm just going to let people do what they do because they're doing them. I'm just going to do me. Hopefully they're connected. I mean, if not, I can't help that, but most people are connected. They don't always listen. And and I think that what you did, it took a little courage to say, hey, what's here? And I think so many people like that come to me that would say, oh, aren't you a medium? Aren't you afraid? And first of all, I think that's silly because we're spirit, right? We're spirit, and you're a spirit, and you happen to have a body. But why would I be afraid of you if you came and said, hey, how's it going, Tamara? I go, hey, how are you? I mean, I think it's just like people in this world. There's nice people, indifferent people, mean people. And I think that anything that you do, when you get that love vibration, like you said, from your heart, any kind of work that you do that with spirit, any kind of spirit, and it comes in a love vibration, it can't be wrong if they're saying these beautiful things. And they'll say, it's funny, channel messages, they sound the same around with so many people. Do you know what I mean? There may be a little verbiage difference, a little bit of the way they do it, but to me, it's what I've noticed in the spirit world, they can take a small concept, or one word can mean 3 or 4 things, or a small concept, and it can mean multiple things. And I just don't think as humans we're really that brilliant to do that.
Right.
I'm not.
I mean, as far as, I have so many messengers, and they're always different. I can recognize their energy vibration now because I'm much more energy sensitive. But what first let me realize the difference was just the language. Like I said earlier, the muses within were just so poetic. And then when I got messages about time and how it works, it was very didactic. It was like I was in a classroom and they're giving me a lecture. When the angels came in, oh my gosh, I could barely have them come in without me crying.
Oh, I know.
Because the energy was so powerful and so loving. And then I would see these beautiful pastel colors of pink and green, these pastel ribbons.
I see the colors too.
Do you? Oh.
What's cool is that, okay, this is really cool. And let's hear some angel stories. So this is cool. So I was sleeping one night and I'd been a bit worn down because I was helping a lot of people and I wasn't really taking enough time for myself. And I remember like, frustrated. I'm like, I was frustrated. I'm like, it happens so much. And I'm like, and I feel like part of me is getting lost. I just don't understand at this moment. I remember these feelings, having these feelings. I don't remember the exact situation, but I remember these feelings. And then all of a sudden in the room, I saw this, it was like a small glow in the middle of the room. The room wasn't totally dark. It was my bedroom. I was sitting up, and I was kind of getting things comfortable. So it wasn't even laying down at this point. And my husband was, of course, he's asleep. He can hit his pillow. He puts his head on the pillow and he's gone. I mean, that's it. I wish I could be like that. And so, but I have lights on in the hall. I have like a little angel night light and things. So it wasn't dark or anything, but all of a sudden this source in the middle of the room, this light. And I thought, that's odd. And then it got a little brighter. And then it went like a Polaroid flash, like it was right in your eyes, and went poof, like this.
Wow.
And it lit the entire room up. And it was this beautiful blue color, which I feel like was St. Michael, but it was this beautiful blue. And then all I remember is my reaction is I couldn't stop laughing. I started laughing and crying because my soul knew it was an angel, and I couldn't help it. It was like a knee-jerk reaction. I just kept laughing, and I'm like, okay, that's a good sign. And I started laughing like, who's gonna believe this? Another time I was going to sleep, and I've been doing a lot of little charity stuff, little things, whatever I was doing and helping out, and I was laying down, and in my right ear, I heard a whole chorus of this angels, like different layers, really pretty. And then I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with this ear? And I kind of hit it and look around, and then I would turn my head, and it was like a radio thing in my ear. And then I kept laughing again. I'm like, really? This went on a whole hour. So they can manifest in different ways, but I think those 2 times were for encouragement, because I felt kind of worn down. And I think that was, but we're so loved.
Oh, we are. We absolutely are. When they come to me, it's usually during a meditation. And for most angels, I see that, pink and green ribbons of energy. But for some specific angels, I get different signs. Like, for example, when the seraphim come, there is a purple mist, and the purple mist is always there. When Metatron comes, and you'll see this when you read or listen to my second book.
Okay. The reluctant messenger returns.
Right. An unexpected adventure into the angelic realm. But what happened in that book, those are all angelic experiences.
Oh, wonderful.
But I went from that first Candice 1.0, I couldn't visualize. I didn't have these visions. And that grew over time to, once I was seeing angels, the visions were so profound and so vivid that quite often the vision became the message. So with Metatron, I found myself in this Merkaba, but at a star tetrahedron. But at the time, I didn't even know what that was. So I looked it up.
It's like a God mandala, right? Where it's like geometric. It's like a holy geometry, right?
Yes. It's like a pyramid, inverted pyramid, and it's twirling. But I had no idea what that was. What I've done is when I get the messages, I just accept them. I just document them.
Right.
And I don't research them until later. And I was actually taking a series of classes on Metatron. So I waited till they were all over till I started researching. And it's like, oh my gosh. Well, because otherwise, if you research it right away, I felt like I would front load the next experience.
Got it.
I made this up, which actually made me a perfect messenger, because most of this was brand new to me. I didn't even know about sacred geometry until I was living it. It was like, whoa, that's just really cool.
The thing is, you can, not truth, universal truth is truth. And I've gotten things that I don't understand. So let me tell you I want to ask you about Metatron. This is a question for you.
Okay.
So all of a sudden I would get Michael, I would get, occasionally oh, this is cool. My dog, we took it to the beach, Tucker, who's got a heart condition. 7 frames in different pictures in the sun. It should not show up at different places. Was a bright green was with him. I said, please don't let him tell me on the beach. I want him to experience the beach. And you could see, and even at the bed, he had a glow about him, and the angels totally, I'm like, I got the chills now.
I was just going to say, you saw me go, cold chills all over. And also that number 7 frames.
Oh my God. I didn't even think about that. Oh my gosh, Candice. Oh my gosh. It was, I got the chills now. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I've still got chills all over.
Oh my gosh. But I said, I love that. This dog is not really a dog. I don't know what he is. We call him Zen Buddha because I don't know. He's there's something else there going on there with this dog.
Right.
It's not, because I used to think it's something else. And I think it was sent there to be close to me, to give me comfort. So I don't know if it was a human once or if it's an angel. I don't know, but it's not. He just stares at you and just looks at you, and it's just peace when he walks near you. So I don't know. Yes. So I said, please keep him with me longer, please. I want him to experience this. So the angels were with me, but recently I'll be getting, and I don't really know much about Metatron. That sounds so lame, but I don't.
I don't.
But I got in my head Metatron, and I saw this red. So what will happen is I'll lay down to go to sleep, and sometimes I'll see, like, oh, it looks green, but then, oh, look at the pretty colors. It'll be blue or red. But then sometimes it looks like there's a glow, and I'm like, there's not a glow. It's just a freaking nightlight. There's no red in the hall. There's no red. But he comes through with like a red tint. Like it's like, it's not scary red. It's like, it's kind of comforting, but how do you see him? Because I don't know what he's doing around me, but he's helping me out. He's showing up. I don't know much about him. I even bought a statue. I have angels statues. Oh yeah, I'm into this. And he's holding the sacred geometry, and he's in that. But I know he's very powerful, and I know he helps with life purpose. But do you see him as red?
I do not see a color with him. What I see, first of all, is I feel the energy, very powerful, very strong, very loving, but it is that sacred geometric form of that Merkaba, or the star tetrahedron. And when you get to my second book, you'll read several experiences that tell how that happens. But that's when I know it's Metatron, because all of a sudden it's like, I find myself in this spinning vortex of, but do you remember the movie years ago, Contact, with Jodie Foster?
Oh yeah.
Remember when she's in that machine that's just twirling around, and she has this other dimensional experience. Yes. And when she comes back, everyone says, it didn't happen, it failed. And later they go and they look at, but she, there's like 20 minutes or something where she was there.
She was like, no, it didn't.
Yeah, well, this is what it's like. And I've got cold chills.
Oh, wow.
When I'm with Metatron, I'm actually put into that energy field that he has. And then I'm a vehicle of light, and I can go everywhere. And I had no idea, first of all, what a star tetrahedron was. And I had no idea it was associated with Metatron until I experienced it. So that's my experience. I am just like in that machine.
I had this dream, but I was kind of, you ever have have conscious dreams where you're awake and you're kind of, I don't know what you call that.
Like a lucid dream?
Yeah, lucid dreaming. And I remember like, oh, what's that? Because I remember like, what am I doing now? But I was being, not me as a person, but I guess my spirit, I was being pushed in this tube.
Perfect.
And I was like crammed in this tube. I'm like, why is this so tight? And then I'm being pushed in this tube, and I'm going really, 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 really far this time, further than I've ever been, like traveling at night. So I think I'm going to another planet. So
like a wormhole.
It's a wormhole. I'm going really, 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 because I'm like, God, this is really tight. I don't like tight places, guys. I don't like that. And I couldn't understand this sensation of feeling. And then I thought, well, I'm spirit. I shouldn't have this sensation of feeling this way, but it was the way of letting you've got to go really far. It's a really long tube. So I think he started showing up with that. And also I have had, I don't know, I'll find out. I got some alien specialists coming on. I drew pictures of them, but they're not scary. They look human, but they've been watching us, and they've said they're very unemotional. I've talked to them too, but I'm like, look, I know Jesus. Look, I even talked to Confucius. I know who he is. Different ones. I know different ones. And I'm like, but Mother Mary. I'm not Catholic, but I know who she is.
Yes,
right. But I, don't know you, so I'm kind of a little skeptical because, I'm not sure about you because I don't know you. Right? Because if you had someone show up like Buddha, you said,
yes,
who Buddha is.
Right. Here I am, Southern Baptist, and I have this experience with Buddha. Buddha wasn't even on my radar, wasn't in my orbit. That's
awesome.
What made me realize this was true. Because if I were making it up, of course I would have picked Jesus. That's from my background. But like Buddha, why is he here?
The way I look at it, they're all on a team. I did a meditation once, and it was in the water, which you would like it because it's water. I'll tell you about it later. And then you walk up, and you look in the boat, and all the people that were there, they were a lot of different personalities. And literally, I'm going, Confucius. I've had Buddha around too, but Confucius. It's funny because there was a guy that I had on the show, a gentleman. Michael Tamura, if you haven't heard him, he's so funny and so cute. Just a joyful human being. And anyway, he does spiritual teaching, and he's in California and all that. But before the interview, before the pre-show, I said, you're in my astral visions. And he started laughing really hard. And I said, yeah, we're at this place, and you look like a Fu Manchu, and you got this long hair in the back. And I said, Michael, is that you? I only talked to him like once. And is that you? And he goes, yeah. I said, but you're really old. He goes, but I look wise like this. And then he started laughing. It was floating over this pond. And so it was cheery. He says, I do this. And I said, and you just talk to me. I'm like, yeah, I already know all that stuff. And he goes, I said, well, I know that too. And he goes, ha, ha, ha. And he started laughing. He goes, well, let's just hang out. And then we were talking. And then he goes, and then so when he showed up on the thing, he has cherry blossoms behind him. And I'm wearing cherry blossoms. And he goes, I do this all the time with people. So what's cool is that these other things, it's not just your soul journeying, but you can meet your buds and that, right? You can meet your buddies.
Yes.
They don't even have to be living, right? You can have loved ones that have crossed over. I mean, it's just that's why I love to sleep, because
I do too.
Sounds terrible.
But no, because that's where I was getting my messages without me really realizing it before, without realizing I could get them during waking state.
And now you write it down.
Yeah. But you get these things that occur either in a meditative state or during dreaming. And think about dreaming. It's perfect. Your ego is set aside. Your judgment is set aside. So in a dream, you can walk through a door, a closed door or a window or a wall, and you don't stop and say, I can't do that. So you allow the energy to flow. And this is what it's like when you're connecting to spirit or to energy. It's like water going through a garden hose. It starts off and it's maybe crimped, but if you just allow it, it just starts getting uncrimped.
Beautiful. I like that.
And then before you know it, it is just absolutely flowing. And this is, we all have that opportunity. Just open up. And when like you, with that experience with him, you had that beautiful validation. Now, some people used to call that a coincidence. And I always remember, I love that word coincidence. I remember Wayne Dyer said, a coincidence is not some haphazard, what a coincidence, something that happened by chance. But if you think about the word coincidence, the root word is coincide. In geometry, when two angles coincide, they're a perfect match. So when you have a coincidence, think about it and realize that is Spirit's way of saying, pay attention. There's something here that's very important. There's a reason why you've kind of dovetailed with that. And that's what your validations do. They prove your coincidence.
Well, even in the well, if you want to call it the supernatural realm, sometimes we still want signs. Can you, okay, it seems like you're saying this. Can you verify that? And then you will get, and I don't think it's a bad thing, you'll get your verification.
Absolutely.
I used to laugh and go, am I slow? Am I not getting this? But I think you're saying this. So if you just are patient, it could come through any way. It could come through. I've seen things on bumper stickers or the back of cars.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay.
But what's important is to ask for it. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want a sign. In fact, you can ask for a specific sign. I did a meditation once with someone and they said, we're going to meet your guides. But before we go in, because you're going to think you're making this up, ask for a specific sign, a specific validation. So one person said, okay, living in Florida where it's flat, I want to see an active volcano. I want to see a volcano erupting. So he had the meditation, met his guide. A week or so later, he goes out to get his mail, and he has his neighbor's mail. By accident, his neighbor is a geologist. He opens it up, and there is this glossy cover on a magazine of a volcano erupting. So ask for signs, and even ask for a specific sign. You'll get it. And then what that does is that strengthens that connection that you have to spirit, and you'll get more signs. Absolutely. And you learn to trust it.
Oh, well, I tell you what, you're absolutely right. Candice, I know we're about out of time. I would love for you to come back to talk about your second book, The Reluctant Messenger Returns. Would you be willing to return in a live chat or something to go over your second book? You're awesome.
Oh, thank you. I would love to do that. I would love to come back.
You are too much fun. You are such a beautiful, you have such a beautiful spirit about yourself. Totally understand why spirit picked you, because you're just so precious. And, it's funny how you're on a path and then they call you in for service. And I'm so glad that you're speaking out about how people can connect and sharing your experiences. And you're just such a delight. Let me tell people where to get a hold of you so they can go to your website. And tell us first about the YouTube real quick, and also the website.
The website is just my name, Candice with an I, CandiceSanderson.com. And if you go to my website, you'll see my YouTube channels. I actually have 3 YouTube channels, so you can find those there. And
so, it's funny, they told you to do the YouTube. They told me to do the YouTube. And I was like, sure, something else. They told another friend of mine to do the YouTube, and she's still, I don't know if you want to say arguing. They were working through their disagreements. She's like, can't I just write it out? Yeah, can't I just write it out and put it in blogs? And they told her YouTube.
No.
They were really, they did not tell you or me, Rumble or TikTok. They said, this is what they said.
YouTube.
Yeah. And they also said when I did the Jesus Speaks, when I did all those, and they said, okay, then they said this, and I'm like, what about that? They're like, nope, we're done with that. You had 15, we're done. What about later? We'll let you know. We'll let you know.
Right.
We'll let you know. And I'm like, no, we want you to do this for now. And I'm like, well, what is it? He said, just do this. It's good. Just keep doing it. And I'm like, okay. So sometimes we have to, it really is, our life is, it can be a real adventure and journey, because sometimes I don't know, like, what is the end game on all that? It's all about, love and spreading love and letting know people that they are loved. There is a plan to everything, and everything's going to be just fine. But but sometimes I don't always know it. Sometimes they'll tell me, like you, messages, and I'm like, well, what the heck does that mean?
Right.
Ever get those? And I'm like, all right, I'll put it down here. So that's I think that when you come with surrender and like, all right, I don't know what's best, I think you do, God, and you just have a surrender in your heart and a love, just a love for yourself, love for others, just love, that that really attracts the other side. They really like that, don't you think? They really,
absolutely.
They really connect on that vibration, and there's just so much support for all of us. And I think that I remember one time my angels were saying, "No, we thank you." Thank me for what? Oh no! And angel said, "Oh no, but we're on the same team." But they see us. We're here in this physical plane. It's not the highest vibration. So they see what we're doing as being not so easy. So
Right.
they're like, wow, thanks for doing the work here. Thanks. We know it's not easy. And so, you know, we don't always think of things like that, but they're very grateful from, you know, for just what is it, hanging in with the good fight, you know, because I think
Right.
most people do try to do the best. I do think most people do try to do their best here. So, and
like
now
you say, it's not always easy, but
right. But then if you connect and just let them tell you, it's a lot easier.
right. Just allow. It's a matter of allowing and not resisting.
Yep, absolutely. You know, it's a lot easier following instructions, even if you don't understand it all, versus when I did it my way. So I'm very grateful for, you know, even though I don't know how it's all going to work out, I know it's going to be just fine. So look, I'm
Right.
excited about what you're doing. I want to have you back on the show to do the second part and the angels. And my my followers here, they love angel stories. They love angels, anything with angels. I love angels. I have angel jewelry. I don't know if you could see it. I've got angel stuff everywhere. I've got angel statues in the yard. I mean, I'm just angeled up. I just love it. Well, look, thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll definitely do a part 2 on this.
That sounds good. And thank you so much for having me, Tamara. This was great. I had so much fun.
Me too.